chamomile tea, so good. Okay, I have beside me a huge stack of books, and I thought today I would share with you some of the books that have completely changed my life and have changed my perspective and my view on the world, and just supported me and helped me a lot on my journey. So the first one I have here is A New Earth. This is by Eckhart Tolle, I believe is how you pronounce it. I came to this when I was pretty early on in my spiritual journey, and it just didn't really resonate. I found it very difficult to read, but then after going through a very difficult time in my life, and I had, a sort of spiritual awakening, and I started to really see the world differently and started to challenge and question how the way things were, I picked up this book again, and it really, really transformed my life and really helped me at the time that I was going through. And actually Alex and I used to read this together, and I really want to read it again. It's a book that you can come back to again and again and get new insights. And another really cool thing about this book is that Eckhart and Oprah recorded a series together about this book because Oprah just loved it so much. And I think it might be a 10-part series, and they go through each chapter together and they talk about it, and Oprah asks Eckhart questions and they get callers call in and ask questions. So that is a really great resource if you're reading this book and you want to listen to that podcast series as well alongside it. Definitely recommend. Okay, the next book I have is Big Magic. It's a small book, but it has had a big impact on my life. Oh my gosh, I remember when I first read this, I read it in like 2 days, which for me, I'm not someone who reads very quickly. I like to kind of take my time and let things sink in. And I just powered through this because it just resonated so much. The tagline to this is creative living beyond fear. And it's all about getting back in touch with our innate creativity and creating just for the sake of it, not for some sort of outcome. And Elizabeth Gilbert, who is the author, wrote Eat, Pray, Love, which so many people would have heard of. And she talks about how she never set out to become a success with Eat, Pray, Love. She was just writing about her experience and her life, and it just happened to take off, and it happened to resonate with so many people. And so she talks about this notion of letting go of fear and letting go of outcomes and expectations when it comes to expressing our creativity. And I just love it. It completely changed the way I perceived my own creativity. It completely changed the way I perceived like success and failure when it comes to creativity. And it's just a really beautiful book. I've also listened to the audiobook like 10 times. I'm not kidding you, because it's just so beautiful. And for anyone who's creative, or even if you don't identify as being creative, this is a beautiful, beautiful book. Okay, the next one, my heart. The next one is The Alchemist. Oh my gosh, this book found me. This book found me when I needed it most. This is from Paulo Coelho. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Sorry if I got that wrong. But I'll just read you a little quote from the back. To realize one's destiny is a person's only obligation. And it's so beautiful. This edition here is the 25 anniversary edition. This is actually Alex's, and I think he'd recommended it to me, and I'd heard of it and I'd heard that it was good, but I really feel like this book found me at a really low point in my life. I had probably, I was maybe 6 months or a year into quitting my job and just being fully self-employed, and I was going through a really dark time. I was really questioning my identity. I was questioning my self-worth, and I was questioning my life purpose, and I was just feeling like I didn't have a purpose, and I felt very purposeless, and I felt very like, what's the point? I was in a really dark and low place, and this book I read in one day. I just couldn't put it down, and it talks so much about really like the hero's journey and about this notion of our destiny and following our life path. And often if we think that we're not going in the direction of our dreams or our goals, we find ourselves going through navigating these different side steps, and our destiny is always pulling us in our true direction. And yeah, it's just such a beautiful book. I want to reread this. I definitely will reread this again and again and again, and highly, highly recommend for anyone going through a period of feeling like purposeless and like you don't really know whether you're on the right path in life. This is a great read. The next one, another one from Eckhart, is The Power of Now. And this really helped me with learning to be more present, learning about this notion of presence and the present moment. And I was really drawn to this when I was studying to become a meditation and mindfulness teacher, because it talks in just such practical ways about how the present moment is all we ever really have. And yeah, I again will have to go back and read this, because off the top of my head I can't really share. I don't have anything profound to share about this, any insights, but it definitely does change the way you think about the present moment and about life. So funny story, Alex and I actually went to see Eckhart live. We went to a live show of his in Melbourne. It would have been a year or two ago. It was probably about a year ago. And he was incredible. He just commanded so much presence, and not in a commanding way. It's hard to explain, but he himself is just pure consciousness, pure presence in form. And he was actually so funny. He had the whole audience laughing, and just this really like playful Buddha-like, childlike innocence. And yeah, I don't know, it was just a really amazing experience. I'm so grateful that I got to see him in person, and he and his teachings have had such a huge impact on my life. So definitely recommend this one if you are getting into wanting to be more present, wanting to practice presence in your life, or just wanting to reconnect with yourself a little bit more. This is a great book. Going to a little bit more of a darker one now. This is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, and I only recently read this, probably a month or so ago. And as you can see, I got a lot of value out of it. There's lots of tabs in this book. And I will read to you one of the quotes, which you may have even heard of because it's so well known. Here it is. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. And this book is about his experience, Viktor Frankl's experience as a Holocaust survivor, and his experience of being in the concentration camp. And it is horrific. It is very confronting to read what happens in his experience, but it's actually very rare as well to have such a first-hand experience of the war and the Holocaust. And yeah, I just think it's really important reading for anyone to know about these things. And there's some really profound insights about our attitude and our perspective and the power of our mind at contributing to the experiences that we're having, and our perception, how our perception shapes our reality. And again, like he says, that freedom to choose our own way. And so I just felt like this was really important to share, because it definitely changed my perspective and attitude, and it helped me to remember that we do have so much power over our own perception and our attitude, and how we relate to the experiences in our lives, as horrific or uncomfortable as they may be. My leg is going numb, so I'm just going to readjust. Okay, the next book we have here is The Surrender Experiment. This was becoming really popular. I think it went viral on TikTok a little while ago, so I heard about it that way. And as you can see, again, I've got lots of tabs in here. I really enjoyed this book. I remember it being a real remembering of this idea that so much of life is out of our control, and also that life has its own agenda, and life is taking us where we need to go. And I think that so often we get in our own way and we get in our heads and we question and we doubt whether we should go in a certain direction. But if we can let go of some of that control and we can surrender to our life experiences and to the pull, the way that life is pulling us again, pulling us towards our destiny, like in The Alchemist, it's just about like getting out of our own way and surrendering to life. And so he shares his own spiritual journey and his own journey of letting life lead the way and surrendering and letting go of the outcomes that he thinks, that his mind thinks should happen, and letting life lead the way. So it is a really beautiful book and theme, and something that I think we can all take away from. Okay, the next one is called Wherever You Go, There You Are. Again, all of the tabs. This is from John Kabat-Zinn, who is one of the leading teachers in mindfulness. Alex bought me this book again when I was early into my meditation and mindfulness teacher journey. And it's just a really practical, beautiful book about mindfulness in everyday life, and about the simpleness of mindfulness, and about, just simple ways that we can incorporate mindfulness into our everyday life. And as you can see, I have taken away a lot from this book. But you know, the title of this book, Wherever You Go, There You Are, you hear this saying a little bit, and it only really just sunk in for me recently, this notion of wherever you go, there you are. Because we recently moved, as many of you would know, out to the countryside, and we live this beautiful lifestyle out here. And it's funny how you think that if your life circumstances change, you will feel better or you will feel different. It's this whole notion of, I'll be happy when I get this, or I'll be happy when that happens, you know, placing our happiness on external circumstances. It's just funny to notice that, like, even though I'm living this lifestyle that I've dreamed of for so long, I still have these same issues and challenges and so-called problems that I face in my everyday life. It's just really made me think about how much emphasis we put on these future things happening to make us happy or to make us feel a certain way. And just that reminder that the present moment is all we ever really have. The last one is a bit of a bonus that I wanted to share. And this is The Gene Keys. I'm just gonna have to show you a close-up of this book. Oh my goodness, this is a Bible. This is like a Bible to me. So I have been studying the Gene Keys for almost 2.5 years now. And this is sort of based off human design, which is a system, I know I've talked about it a fair bit on here. It's a system that can really help you to discover who you really are and to connect more with your real, authentic self. And so I just thought I would share it because this has completely transformed my life. I have been working through reading each of these 64 chapters, the 64 Gene Keys. And as you can see, it's all about embracing your higher purpose. And yeah, I've been studying this for over 2 years now, and I actually have a podcast with my friend Rafaela, and together we have been exploring the Gene Keys, and we've been going through one by one and talking about them, and they really explore all the full spectrum, the full experience of what it is to be human, the spectrum of human consciousness, and all of the different frequencies of energy, from the lowest frequencies to the highest, that humans can express. And so it's just really interesting, and I thought I would throw that one in there. Okay, so that is it for today's video. Those are some of the books that have changed my life, that have had a huge impact on me, and I wanted to share them with you. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've read any of these books in the comments below, and let me know if you have any book recommendations. I'm always looking for new books. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. Bye.